Anna Carter remembered the warmth of Daniel Ross's hands the first time he promised her forever. He wasn't just a man to her. He was a dream she never thought she deserved. Daniel, the ambitious son of a wealthy real estate mogul, was the golden boy of their small city, confident, magnetic, admired by everyone. Anna, on the other hand, came from quiet beginnings. She grew up in a modest home with her grandmother, working 2 part-time jobs to put herself through college. Their worlds collided at a charity gala she was waitressing at. She wasn't supposed to catch his eye, but she did. Daniel noticed her genuine smile, the way she spoke with kindness even when people looked down on her. He asked her name, and from that night on, Anna's life changed. Late-night drives, whispered secrets under city lights, promises that love could erase every line society drew between them. Anna believed him. When he proposed after 2 years of whirlwind romance, she didn't hesitate. It felt like fate, but fate had its own cruelty. Soon after their engagement, Anna discovered she was pregnant. She was terrified at first, unsure how Daniel would react. Yet when she told him, he hugged her tightly and whispered, "You've just given me the best gift of my life." For a few weeks, life felt perfect. They planned names, argued playfully about nursery colors, even dreamed about moving into a countryside home far away from the judgment of his high society circle. But the whispers started. Daniel's mother, Victoria Ross, a woman known for her iron will and sharp tongue, despised Anna from the very beginning. She never hid her disdain, though Daniel often brushed it off. "She'll come around," he used to say, kissing Anna's forehead. Except Victoria didn't come around. Instead, she came prepared with lies. One evening, just 3 months into Anna's pregnancy, Daniel stormed into their apartment. His usually calm eyes burned with fury. He threw down an envelope of photos, grainy but damning. Images of Anna dining with another man, smiling, leaning close. Letters tucked inside, written in her handwriting, declaring love for someone else. Anna's blood ran cold. She had never seen those photos before. The letters were forged, but the resemblance to her writing was terrifyingly accurate. She tried to explain. "Daniel, these aren't real. Please, you know me. I would never—" But his face was stone. His mother's words echoed in his ears. "She's trapping you. That child isn't yours." The accusation sliced through her like glass. Her heart broke, not just for herself, but for the life growing inside her. You think I'd lie about our baby?" she whispered, tears streaming. Daniel's silence was worse than anger. Finally he spoke, voice trembling with rage and betrayal. "Get out!" "I don't ever want to see you again," Anna begged. She pleaded. But he turned away. That night, carrying nothing but a small suitcase and the weight of her unborn child, Anna walked out of Daniel's world. The rain soaked her as she wandered the streets, her body weak but her spirit unwilling to collapse. The city that once felt alive now felt like a cage. She found a room in a rundown motel where the peeling wallpaper smelled of mildew and the air carried echoes of broken dreams. For days, she lay awake, one hand on her stomach, whispering promises to her unborn child. "I'll protect you. Even if I have nothing, you'll have love." The betrayal nearly destroyed her, but the life inside her became her reason to fight. Anna disappeared from Daniel's life without a trace. To him, she was gone forever. To her, this was the beginning of a battle for survival, resilience, and a future she would build with her own hands. And yet, deep inside her heart, a question lingered like an open wound. Would he ever regret what he had done? The nights were the hardest. In that dim, crumbling motel room, Anna lay awake, listening to the sound of rain on the roof, wondering how she had gone from being cherished to being cast aside. Her body ached, her spirit trembled, but the small flutter inside her reminded her she could not surrender. She whispered lullabies into the darkness, promising the tiny life within her that they would find light again. Days turned into weeks as she searched for work, her belly growing and her strength tested. People looked at her with pity or suspicion, yet she refused to bow her head. A kind-hearted cafe owner finally offered her a job wiping tables and serving coffee. It was meager, but it was hope. Each coin she saved became a seed of determination, a vow that she would never let her child suffer the emptiness she felt that night she was driven away. Her loneliness was deep, yet she transformed it into fuel, pushing forward when despair whispered that she couldn't. The world thought she had vanished, but quietly she was rebuilding, piece by fragile piece. And though her heart bled with betrayal, there was a fire in her eyes now, a silent defiance that said one day, she would rise from the ashes of her broken past. What Anna did not know was that destiny was already preparing a twist she could never have imagined. Years passed, and with them came countless trials that shaped Anna into someone far stronger than the trembling young woman who had once been cast out. When the day arrived and her son took his first breath, she held him close and knew her life had found its true purpose. She named him Ethan, a name that meant strength, for he was her anchor in the storm. Nights of exhaustion and days of endless work blurred together. Yet every time Ethan's small hand curled around her finger, she discovered a courage she never thought she had. She worked 2 jobs, studied at night, and built a quiet reputation for her talent in design, pouring her heart into every sketch she created. What began as drawings on scraps of paper grew into opportunities that slowly lifted her out of poverty. Clients admired her creativity, and soon she was no longer just surviving, she was thriving. Ethan grew up watching his mother face hardship with unshakable grace, and his laughter filled the home she had built with her own hands. Still, the memories of betrayal lived in the shadows of her heart, a scar she never showed the world. Anna believed the past was buried for good, but fate was not finished with her story. 5 years after the night she walked away, her path was about to collide with Daniel's once more, and this time, she would not return as the broken girl he had abandoned, but as a woman who carried both power and a secret he could never ignore. The city skyline glittered against the night as Anna stepped out of the sleek car that had come to symbolize how far she had climbed. No longer the timid girl who once walked away in tears, she now carried herself with quiet confidence. Her name whispered in business circles as a designer who turned visions into masterpieces. But while success had given her stability, it was Ethan who had given her life meaning. His curious eyes, so strikingly like Daniel's, reminded her every day of the love she once lost and the truth that could never be erased. She thought she had escaped the past, yet destiny has a way of weaving circles. An invitation arrived, an industry gala hosted by the very company Daniel now led. Anna hesitated, her fingers trembling as she held the envelope. But something inside told her it was time. Not for revenge, not even for closure, but for Ethan. The night of the event, as she walked into the grand hall in a gown of her own creation, conversations hushed and eyes turned toward her. She was no longer invisible, no longer the girl mocked as an outsider. And then, across the room, she saw him. Daniel, older, sharper, but with the same commanding presence that once stole her heart. His gaze met hers, and for a moment the world seemed to stop. He didn't know the truth yet, didn't know the child she had raised alone, but the fire in her eyes told him this was no ordinary reunion. Something powerful was about to unfold. Daniel could not take his eyes off her. The woman standing before him was not the fragile girl he had once doubted, but a force he could not ignore. Questions swirled in his mind, confusion mixing with a strange sense of longing he had buried years ago. He moved through the crowd, every step pulling him closer to the truth he wasn't ready to face. Anna greeted him with a calm smile that revealed nothing of the storm inside her. Their conversation was polite, almost too polite, but beneath every word lay unspoken pain and unfinished history. Daniel tried to ask about her life, but she only gave fragments, carefully guarding the one secret that mattered most. Just as he was about to press further, Ethan entered the hall with a family friend who had brought him. The boy's laughter rang out, clear and unshaken, and when Daniel's eyes landed on him, the ground seemed to vanish beneath his feet. Ethan's features were unmistakable, his own reflection staring back at him through the child's bright eyes. The truth he had denied, the truth he had buried under lies and pride, was now undeniable. He looked at Anna, his voice breaking as he whispered, "Is he mine?" The silence that followed was heavier than any crowd, more powerful than any accusation. Anna did not answer right away. She only held her son close, her expression filled with strength, dignity, and a quiet fire that told Daniel this moment was no longer about his guilt. It was about her choice. The room seemed to fade into silence as Anna met Daniel's shaken gaze. Years ago, his doubt had torn her apart, but now she stood taller, stronger, with nothing left to prove. Ethan looked up at her with trust in his young eyes, the same trust she had fought every day to protect. Daniel's lips trembled as he tried to speak, apologies tangled with regret, but Anna lifted her hand gently, stopping him. "This is not about what you lost," she said softly, her voice steady. "It's about what I built." The words struck him harder than anger ever could. He saw in her the resilience he had once overlooked, the grace that had carried her through storms he had never known. Ethan ran ahead toward the stage, marveling at the lights, and in that moment, Daniel's chest tightened with a realization that the child was not just his son by blood, but the living proof of Anna's courage. For the first time, Daniel's proud posture broke, and his eyes glistened with tears. He asked for forgiveness, for a chance to be part of what he had abandoned, but Anna did not answer right away. She looked at Ethan, then back at the man who had once shattered her. Her heart whispered that life had already given her everything she needed: strength, purpose, and a love untainted by betrayal. What she decided next would not be for Daniel's redemption, it would be for her son's future. And as the music swelled through the hall, the world waited for her choice, knowing nothing would ever be the same again.